Who would be a Wolves fan, eh?
On goes Bull. People might yet win it here for Wolves. Flash in the shot. What a goal!
Hello, and welcome to the last match reaction of the season. Unless we decide to do one tomorrow for the under-23s magnanimous victory, or what it's looking like anyway, against Stoke. Big thanks to everyone who's joining us live on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, and to anyone who's listening as a pod as well. We're, of course, part of the 90-Min Football Network, and joining me today, I've got Stu and Luke. How are you both this evening?
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
Fair to middling. I'm actually quite. I mean, I'm kind of glad that it's the last one because I'm quite suffering today. The first time this season. I mean, I haven't gone mad all season long, and it didn't seem like we had yesterday either. But then, totaling it up, it was quite a large amount in a short space of time. But
but Stu, when you say you're not going mad, you still drink about 11 pints.
No, it wasn't out of that yesterday. It was probably about 7. Yeah, about 7 or 8 or something like that in 2.5 hours ish.
I would not be functioning.
Oh God, I'd be breakdancing in the middle of Wetherspoons in Croxteth or summer.
The Ellesmere Port Labour Club, they treated us well. So several points of Tetley's dark mild in there, as you do. It's a 38-year-old man, but yeah, joined the party. It was the best part of the day.
Wow, I was going to say that there was a title decider this weekend, guys. It went down to the wire, but Thomas Telford won the National Schools Under-2012s Cup this weekend, didn't they, Luke? They
did, and thank you for saying that. And that was the biggest match of the weekend, Matt.
I was going to say
that and Liverpool. It was all about Thomas Telford against Shenfield Under-12s because my lad was playing in it, so that was the biggest one.
Well,
there's 3 Wolves lads in there as well, so it is linked to the Wolves as well.
Yeah, where was the find out of curiosity?
It was at the Albion.
Was it?
Yeah, it was at the Albion.
Spider City.
Shithole. Honestly, I was just saying, like I was saying to you two before we went on air, there was actually cobwebs on, I'd say, a good 40% of the seats. Honestly, I wish I would have took pictures because people think I'm just lying because it's about the Albion. But honestly, you had to dust your seats down and everything. It's a shithole. Absolute shithole.
Would we prefer to talk about the under-12s Cup final or the Liverpool match? Because genuinely, I'm 50-50, to be honest.
It was a good game. It's on YouTube, so you can catch up on it. It was a really good game, but we'll talk about Wolves and Liverpool if we have to.
Let's go for it, because mentioned it was the last game of the season, and let's be honest, the mood around Wolves the last month or so has been getting sour and sour. I don't want to use the T word, so we'll go for sour at the moment, and toxic.
I was thinking all kinds of things then. I thought, what could this possibly be?
No, I think if you call a team toxic, that's the cross on the door. That's the death sentence, in my opinion.
Did far off, to be fair.
Yeah.
Did Britney Spears shave her hair off after she released that song?
Yeah, she looked like you.
I'm pretty sure she did.
Yeah, I'm sure timeline wise.
Maybe there's something in it. Maybe toxic really is toxic.
We would have to check.
Sounds like a conspiracy, that does,
Starting lineup wise, I was going to say he seemed to have reverted back a little bit. Obviously, John Ruddy didn't start the game; he did feature because Sarr got injured. So I think that game he played against Norwich the other week was a bit of a send-off match rather than anything else, which I think we all sort of suspected. And a front three and a front two of Neto and Jimenez. Stu, were you happy enough with the lineup?
Just bored.
Yeah.
It's probably our strongest team. What else is he meant to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, well, yeah.
Start of the kids who are all playing tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
It was just one of them. To be fair, when I saw it, I thought, oh, okay, just okay. Well, we got 3 midfield and we played pretty all right against them at home, apart from Hoover messing it all up for everyone. So I thought, well, okay, we'll see what happens then. I mean, I wasn't excited by it. I thought, well, maybe give Chiquinho a try or something like that, and not at wing back, maybe be a bit braver. But to be fair, I thought, when we come on to it, I thought it worked for the most part for what we could possibly do against them. But yeah, it's just got to the stage where it's just the same every week, and it doesn't matter who does come in; they're all the same. They're all equally as bad as each other, especially up front. But then after 2 minutes,
I mean, we're never going to like go to a back four and really kind of work with the shape. We're always going to play a 3-man midfield because we're against Liverpool, and that kind of leaves you 2 up front. Jimenez is arguably always going to start, even ahead of Silva, despite what I think we all would argue in this virtual room, as it were. But yeah, it did feel like very samey, but not in a good way. One thing I wanted to sort of chat about before we get it right into the game was, I guess, the atmosphere and the build-up. So, Stu, you were there on Sunday. Did there... I'm trying to think of the best way of phrasing this now. Was there sort of a different mood in the air around Liverpool? Was there sort of that a nervousness? Because obviously they did the things with the flares, with the coaches, try and create atmosphere. And well, yeah, I was just kind of interested to see what you thought of the actual atmosphere on the day.
I mean, weirdly, because we got there really early for us. I mean, we were there for... We were in the ground for 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So in a whole hour before kickoff, and it was like, well, around that side of the ground. I mean, obviously it's a building site at the minute anyway, but they were very quiet. From their fans were very quiet. As soon
That's
as we got
not like Liverpool fans.
No, it's going against type, eh? They had this. The biggest noise was coming from inside the ground, where they was talking about this. We have got a fan park with a big screen, but we're not showing the game on it. I was like, oh, okay. And then we walked around the corner, and then there was a couple of guys with points, and I thought, well, they're drinking outside. It's probably going to be the same cost as what it is inside anyway, so we might as well just get in. But once we were in the ground, I mean, it was like a party atmosphere, despite how shit we are. And since the first Arsenal game, it's been one of them. Well, it just gets from bad to worse. Everyone was just there for a good old time and hoping that Liverpool would lose the title. But yeah, I mean, from our point of view, it was great, atmosphere-wise for us. But yeah, for them, it was, if it was nerves or it was just them being shit fans that they are, you couldn't really tell any difference to what it normally is, really, to be honest.
From watching it on the telly, though, one thing I'll say is Wolves fans sounded class again.
Yeah.
We definitely bought it.
Even when they were singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" at the before kickoff, you could still hear the Wolves fans.
Yeah, singing "God Save the Queen" over it as well, which was quite hilarious.
Oh, I think they're singing. Was they singing "We Are Wolves"?
Yeah, it kind of merged into. I mean,
could hear it on the telly, man, and it almost brought a tear to my eye. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was probably the best away. I mean, our away support has been not great this season. I mean, I've talked about this multiple times. Maybe it's a hangover from the bad times or whatever the last 2 years. Who knows? But it hasn't been what it was beforehand. Yesterday, it was really good from start to finish. And yeah, a lot of that was gallows humour and taking the piss out of them lot and everything. But despite that, it was still, like you said, it was noise. It was a war of noise and coming from one place, and it wasn't them. The only time they made any noise at all was when we faked them out again, and they thought they were going to win the league. And that, to be fair, that was probably the loudest I've ever heard any ground ever, anywhere I've been. I mean, that cheer when they thought that Villa had equalised to make it 3-3 was as loud as I've ever heard anything, and it didn't exist.
Yeah, you
Which
can't
makes
beat
it even
that.
better.
You can't beat that. Remember when it happened to us? Was it
Yeah.
when we missed out on the playoffs? Was we playing Blackpool or something like that? Or we needed
Yeah.
a Blackpool result, and we got done, man. It's horrible.
It's going to happen, in it. It don't matter who you
Yeah,
are.
it's class when
what
it's not happening
division.
to you. Like
Yeah,
when you,
yeah.
because I heard the Liverpool fans cheering, and I was like, "Oh, nah, don't tell me Villa have equalised," because I think Man City had just made it 3-2.
Yeah,
and then nothing come through, and I was just buzzing, absolutely buzzing.
the fact that we've
Then
done
was
it
Wolves fans
twice.
chanting about VAR or saying it's gone to VAR.
Yeah, and the fact that we've done them twice in 4 years with the same joke, and they fell for it twice.
That's it. That's
Like
it.
say about Scouse humour though, best in the land, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you what it reminded me on Saturday. It gave me proper Richard Stearman vibes when we scored in the first couple of minutes, because that was pissing on chips. What a ruddy start. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? We usually, you know, we tend to kind of go through goal by goal and stuff like that. We probably won't today because can't be asked to talk about the Liverpool goals, to be honest. But how fucking shit was that defending? That was, honestly, look, if that had happened for your lads' team, for Thomas Telford, you'd be fuming at under 12. It was so bad.
Especially because that Canate, he's half decent, like, and he's just completely jumped under the ball. You know, I'm not gonna moan about it.
It wasn't even like the first time. Like, it was planned. They knew something like that was going to happen. That's why.
Well, you could see we was hitting that ball quite a lot.
Yeah.
Into that hole behind him. But I mean, I know we can only talk about one goal, but how many chances did we have as well?
I know. Yeah.
Really exploited them at times.
I mean, that first half in particular, when we had Neto on, and we'll move on to how things kind of changed. That was like that first half an hour. I think that's how we think Wolves should play every week.
No, that is how Wolves should play every week.
Yeah,
not
but
what
we
we
don't,
think
because
it's
we
how
don't
we
play.
should.
But we don't play Liverpool every week. We don't play a team who has such a high line, who are without their best centre half every week. But it was just.
But to me, it just shows. You know what? When you just show a bit of bollocks and try and go at somebody, you can cause them problems as much as they can cause you problems. So why not? Obviously, you have to gauge sort of, you know, you're playing Liverpool away. You can't go at them sort of 60 times in a 90-minute game because you're just not going to have the ball as much. But when we're playing teams like Norwich, come on, let's pull it on them a little bit. But so often we seem to just sit back, and that's why the fans get annoyed, because that's not our philosophy. Wolves' philosophy, in my opinion, has always been quite direct. So when we don't play direct, that's when we get frustrated.
I mean, we created more chances yesterday than all 3 games against Norwich this season.
See, and this is what I mean.
And it's a joke. It's we can put that we can put that clip of you saying shock up again, but it wasn't a shock, was it? Because we all know that we knew that yesterday was going to happen like that, because this is what this Wolves team have done for the last.
But we're
3
reactive.
years.
We're a reactive team. We're not savvy enough on the ball to be able to open up teams like Norwich on a consistent basis. This is where people say that, we did the double over Everton and Watford when I say that. But
we never go after.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we just can't play against the low block, because obviously Liverpool play a lot higher than Norwich would at home. But then that's a concern. So where's our plan B? Where we can still be direct, but we just have to be direct in a different way. Maybe with a little threaded through ball, or, you know, instead of going looking for that clip behind in the channel, and we have to come through centrally. But we just haven't got anyone apart from Morgan Gibbs-White. But obviously, that's a separate conversation.
But, I mean, that was always my thing with Adama Traore. I could never get my head round we didn't have him start his runs much near the halfway line. Why have you got the fastest man on the pitch, like, hanging back in the middle of his own half to start his run? Then just all his goals, all his quality came when he was on the last man. We knocked the ball over the top, and I can't quite put my head around, because I think it must be a mentality thing more than a coaching thing, because it's dragged over from last season as well, that they just can't get past that chess game in terms of, well, I know Bruno said it before, hasn't he? About, we know when to attack. Our fullbacks know when to get forward, judging by where the other wing backs are on the opposition. But we need to bring the game to them, not just be reacting to where the opposition are all the time. We need to push the boat a lot more. And it showed against Liverpool that we did that. We weren't scared. And, you know, the amount of chances that, like, we had that Dendonka chance as well, didn't we?
He should have. Yeah, you would like him to do a little bit better there, to be fair.
I mean, no one expected him to score because he's Dendonka. But I think that was the thing, though, because they were there. I mean, it's mad saying that the team that finished second, they were there for the taking again.
Yeah.
And we were forcing them into mistakes more than them making them off their own back. I mean, the last time I saw someone misjudge a ball like Ganato did was Gully in that charity game. And
oh, he's gonna hate that. He's gonna hate that.
It's just facts, eh? But
but
the fact that, what did it take so? Why did it take so long? What were they checking for? Because it seemed like an age for the kickoff to start.
I fucking tell you what, we should have had at least one penalty.
Oh well, it's.
I mean,
it didn't even show a replay. But
they didn't show a match of the day either.
No, didn't show match of the day. They didn't show about half of Wolves' chances, but the penalty, the Totti Gomez one.
Yeah, when he was pushed over.
Good God,
100% penalty.
I don't understand what Stu. You're resident VAR. I was going to use a very choice word there.
Peter Walton, as they called me last week.
Yeah, Pete. Yeah. I don't understand how VAR looked at that and went, it's probably not enough in that. When you can see literally on the replay, his hand pushes him over.
Well, they've looked at it and it's the whole checking club badge thing because it's clear as day that it's fucking bent now. Because I mean, Dale's come out and go and follow Dale Johnson. Great. The VAR review every week normally on a Monday, but it's just bent. There's no way. I mean, you can understand the ref not seeing it because it was chaos and it was a swung ball and the body's in the way. Fine, whatever. It was right in front of us. I mean, when it happened, I just laughed because you're not going to get it anyway because this is the league we're in. I mean, the Matinho penalty at Man City. Has that happened at all again? No, other than for Man City at Everton. But it's blatantly obvious what's going on. There's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for it anymore.
Liverpool had a penalty shout. I can't remember the exact incident now. It might have been when Jota went through. I think when Jota went through and did Bolly come and slide across.
Oh yeah, when it hit him on his chest and it looked like it could have been handball.
You should have seen how many replays there was for that. There was about 7. VAR was checking it, but you could even argue the push by Trent on Hwang.
Yeah.
It would have been softer, but you could. There's certainly an argument for that.
If it was the other way around, if it was the other way around, they'd have got it.
Yeah, 100%. And this is the annoying thing.
Yeah, that's where the argument breaks down. You think, well, okay, are we being like gold-coloured spectacles and this kind of stuff? But when you think about it, and how have they not conceded a penalty all season long? That's not a coincidence. Nah, at all. Nah. You look at the amount of penalties they should have had against them that just don't get given. It's
embarrassing.
It's pointless. It's pointless. I mean, I thought about this at the start of the season. I mean, I didn't get to Spurs for that was my own cock up, but at the start of the season, I was thinking, well, is there any point going to these games against the Snake Six? Because we're not going to get anything. And if we do have a chance, then it's going to be somehow turned against us, and we're not going to get the rubber of the green. And this isn't a Wolves problem. It's league wide. Yeah, it's bent as fuck. It just is.
Yeah, 100%.
I think my issue with kind of penalties and big clubs and whatever, I can get on board if it's that greyish area where that's soft, because fortune favours the brave, especially when attacking penalties. Like they're going to get more. Liverpool are going to get more penalties because they get in the box more. They're going to concede less because they have less players coming in the box. But on Sunday, that was just again stupidly clumsy defending. Again, like not to drag you Thomas Telford into this yet again. Sir Kevin's going to have a field day when he listens to this. I was going to say something really offhand, then and I won't, because I'm going to be on my best behaviour. Like you'd be like, oh, it's a proper schoolboy one, and like the lino's literally in line with it. I think the only thing is that Gomez doesn't make a big deal of it.
I think, but do you know what the scary thing is? Like these refs now, them earning 6-figure salaries to make these decisions. Like you've got VAR helping you as well. So that's 2 referees looking at incidents, being able to look at incidents that you've missed, and they're still making such massive, blatant mistakes, and it's concerning.
Like, if it was like from a direct corner, and there's always a bit of argy-bargy in the box or whatever, and he's nudged him in the back or whatever, I can see how that doesn't always get given.
Yeah.
There's only 2 of them in the box. It's bizarrely, it's a really good set piece by Wolves. If you think it was from a set piece, wasn't it? It wasn't. Yeah, it must. Yeah, I'm kind of creating a memory now, but it was really well worked from Wolves because Gomez sprung the offside trap or whatever to get into that position. I just can't get my head around it. But
I mean, it sums it up. I mean, you look at how many referees have been called up to be VARs in the next round of FIFA games in the summer from England. How many?
Probably 1.
None at all.
It's embarrassing.
And what does that say? VAR's not the problem. It's the dickheads running the thing that's the problem.
Yeah, no, it is.
This stuff does happen occasionally in Germany and France, Spain, but not to this level. Not to the level that we have here. Nowhere near.
And then when Declan Rice was after the Europa League final, was in the ref. Yeah. And then he had to come out and apologise. But sometimes I do agree with we need to respect the officials, especially at a grassroots level and all that sort of stuff. But when it's blatant cheating, you've got to be called up on your bullshit, man. It's as simple as that.
I think my easiest way of doing it is you mic up the referees, because if you mic them up and it's good enough to pick up the players as well. You stamp 2 issues out in one. You ensure that there's better communication with the players from a referee's perspective in terms of explaining decisions after a game as well. So that literally the people who are paying to watch the fucking thing have some reasoning behind what's going on. But also it cancels out any of the abuse angle, because as soon as I think it happened in the NBA, like they didn't used to have the refs mic'd up. So they had players mouthing off all the time. As soon as they did, they had a week where everyone got fined and everyone stops it, because it's like the silly behaviour that just goes along with things. It's the same as pitch invasion. It's like, oh, we just see that as the norm because that's what people do. But it's like, no, that's not correct behaviour. Same as mouthing off to a referee. You don't have to do it. It doesn't make any difference. You can control that very small element of you. So I'm going on a rant about society now, aren't I? Pull me back in, Stu.
I mean,
we'll talk about how Hwang being crap in a second then.
I mean, you don't even have to do it. You don't have to go the NFL route and have it for the refs to talk to the stadium. That's not what we're asking for. You don't even have to have them broadcast. You can all that you need. I mean, it's not like they've got enough wires on them. And they've probably got more wires than RoboCop anyway, all over their body with the fucking VAR communication and the linesman thing and everything, and the watches. So adding one more wire or some kind of headset, which they've already got anyway. All you need is something to record it to. I mean, you're not talking like in the 90s, just sticking a dictaphone on the back. It's like you just put another pouch on.
Trialed it. This female ref was reffing a game at Leicester University or something. It was on YouTube, and she was mic'd up. And then it just replayed the footage, and you could hear her speaking to the players, speaking to her assistants, and she was a really good ref. She was an absolutely fantastic ref. Can't remember her name now, so I do apologise, but she was fantastic. And I think, we understand that refs are humans as well. Refs will make mistakes, just like Ronaldo and Messi will miss a penalty. These things happen. But if a ref was just to come out and be like, you know what, I just missed it. And that's why I had to go to VAR, because in the moment, I just didn't see it. Or if they're gonna give a shite handball decision, well, like Matinho away at Man City, I don't even know if you could excuse that one. But let's say there's a handball, and he's like, to be fair, from my view, his arm was outstretched. It struck his hand. That's why I gave the penalty. That's all we need to know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even like you're talking about an example there. They use it in the A-League in Australia. I mean,
Yeah.
Jared Gillett, who's over here now as a ref and VAR assistant, whatever. The whole thing that made him famous was that clip of him reffing that game and him talking to the players that they use it on Fox. I think it was Fox Sports over there. And they used that later on just to show, because when it was his last game and he was mic'd up. So that it's been done before. And you've got him doing exactly what you just said, Luke, explaining the decisions. And like you were saying, yeah, just go to the monitor to sell it to the fans, like a VAR decision, which we all know that's why they do it anyway, because everyone was outraged the first year. But that's what he wants. But they won't do it here because it's bent.
Because they can't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll go the
it all.
handball because some geezer from the Premier League give me 60 grand to make sure they won the game and there was a penalty. Because that's what's happening now.
I was going to say, like,
they're being paid off.
Similar with other areas of life at the moment.
Allegedly.
It's incompetent at best, corrupt at worst. There was a bit of a sliding doors moment, I think, in the game. I think you'll agree. It's when Pedro Neto went off injured, because I think he was back to being our star boy. He got his first goal of the season. I know, but I think it's like his 12th appearance. But Hwang came on. Now, we've spoken about Hwang before, and I know like that there were some pelters going around on the internet today and yesterday about why I can see why they brought him on over the other attacking players. That doesn't necessarily mean though he was particularly great. Luke,
I'd like to
go
see
on.
his ball retention or pass completion stats, because it seemed like every time he got the ball and he went on a dribble, he got tackled, and a lot of his passes were very, very loose.
I put it in the group earlier.
I was going to say I'm going to quietly find it while you fill, and I'll pretend to be smart.
Yeah, because I mean, Neto was absolutely superb, and you could actually see the game shift when he got taken off.
Yeah,
it killed us. As soon as he went off, and you saw Hwang come on, it was just a case of, okay, we're not going to win this game now.
So, to give you an idea, so Hwang during the game had 36 touches, and he lost possession 20 times.
16.
He had 9 accurate passes out, and that was 50%. So he had a 50. So yeah, he had 18 passes as well.
So his pass completion was 50%.
Yeah, according to whatever screenshot,
that's really, really
Tom
poor. That's really, really poor.
I mean, when you're replacing a Lamborghini with a Flintstone car, taking Neto off to bring him on. I mean, it was up there with one of the worst performances I've seen in the Premier League as a Wolves player, and that's including some of the Dave Jones stuff that Warren. Like, he's probably worse than fucking Oleg Luzhny. That's how bad he is. I don't understand how he's this bad and why he's here. We can't get rid of him now.
It's because he got 3 goals early on, and that's why. Because
one
fell like 3 and 5 or something daft like that.
One of them he fell into 2 inches out.
I know, but it's not looking good, is it, for Hwang? Because I mean, even months and months ago, I think I mentioned it in the group one time. How many times are you watching a game and it's 65 minutes in and you're like, bloody hell, Hwang's on the pitch?
Yeah,
he's so ineffective, so ineffective. Like, the game it's just passing him by. I mean, I don't know what he was like at Leipzig, but seems like this is just a level too high for him at this moment.
I mean, at Leipzig, he didn't score any in the league, did he? I think he had like 20 appearances and didn't score any off the top of my head. He did great at Salzburg in the Austrian Prem. I think my sort of view on Hwang is he's actually quite a good finisher, but he doesn't offer anything else, and we are not catered to have a player who is literally good from 8 yards out.
But I don't
We
think
need so much more.
the problem is for them until he got knackered, he was okay-ish. He wasn't good, but he was a goal scorer at least for a bit. But then he got the hamstring injury, and he's come back. You know what? You know the guy with the one leg on the game at half time against Norwich. That's like, I mean, he had better control than Wang does, and it's almost like this is what's happened to him, and he's got some kind of fleshy Terminator endoskin over the top because that's not a human leg. I mean, how can anyone? I said this 2 weeks ago. I have a better first touch than him. I haven't played football for about 7 years, and that's from goalkeeper as well. He's shit. And there's no. It doesn't make any sense. How this has happened to him? I mean, the only thing that's going for him is that he can't be any worse, and that with a pre-season, maybe somehow maybe they can do something. I mean, don't give him a holiday. Just leave him. Just drill him every day for the next 10 weeks.
Still allowed 10 days in Benidorm with the family, like, you know what I mean?
He's not allowed any time off.
That'd be magnificent. All right, so we've talked about Wang being less than great, but lots of players who have been pretty poor recently did turn it on, whether it was...
Yeah, they're probably paying for moves, that's why.
Yeah, I was going to say, did I actually... Yeah, so there you go, there's the other graphic. Wanting to end on a high, or was it just shop window stuff? I'm glad I got you two on, because I knew I would have got to the point quickly if it was others. Because Willy Bolly... What happened to Willy Bolly? Where's he been the last 6 weeks?
I know. He put that one tackle he put in. Was it on Salah? What a tackle that was. I mean, I thought Totti was superb. Totti, sorry. I thought Totti was absolutely superb. But I thought Cardi was absolutely shocking again against Liverpool. Shock. But yeah, I think Raul might have been playing up for the MLS cameras.
He's gutted that the pre-season tours got binned off, hasn't he? His agent had lots of meetings lined up that week.
To be fair to Raul, I actually thought he played okay against Liverpool. So much better than what we've seen the last sort of 6 or 7 games. But
he had Neto playing with him, and like we've missed Podence, don't get me wrong. And finally now we've had Pedro Neto at some level of fitness, and you know I don't think Neto's been poor since he's been in the team, and even the last couple of games when he's played, you can literally see that fitness improving week in. Yeah, weeky. Oh, I'm knackered here, boys. But Jimenez, he needs better players around him, but he needs to play better himself. I mean, it's not been a great campaign for him by his own high standards, but yeah, I couldn't quite work out if I felt some of them were playing for moves, or it was literally just, you know what, it suited their styles as well. Because Jimenez usually has a decent game against Liverpool. Bolly usually has a decent game against Liverpool, because Bolly just gets to, you know, politely defend. That's what he's quite good at. Backs to wall stuff.
I mean, Bolly, when he replaced Kilman, we all thought, how has he come back and put this kind of a performance in after such a time away? And this was probably as good as that performance was, probably better. I mean, that tackle was Ryan Bennett against Chelsea-esque. You know, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I think Raul, though, I think that laying on that assist as well after just a few minutes, kind of, you could see the confidence come back to him a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're right, Rich. I mean, playing with someone who's not a loser is probably a good thing. I mean, that ball across there, he blasted it at Wang, probably thinking, well, he's going to mess it up anyway. But he still got himself in that position. He hasn't been doing that for months on end. I mean, Southampton, when he got his goal, the movement has been few and far between. And
yeah, again, just like there've not been enough chances this season for our attackers to be behind the opposition's back line, and it's where we're quite good, and it's frustrating. And it's like all of a sudden we're like, oh, you know what? Jimenez did a bit of all right. Now I don't have a game for 3 months. Sound. I'd say, sort of before we wrap up, then, guys, did it feel like a bit of a goodbye to some of these? We talked about, like, bit of jokingly that it was a bit of shop window stuff for a couple of the players, but of course, and it pains me to say it, we did have sort of another. It feels like he's just with Ruben Neves. Luke, I'm not 100% sure, but Stu, do you know, like, the Return of the King, where there's about 8 different endings? That's what it's felt like recently for me and Ruben Neves, because it just keeps feel like we're having a goodbye after goodbye after goodbye.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll put the soundtrack to. I mean, he's not died like Paul Walker did in Fast and Furious, but I'll put that song on the way home, and I was getting all upset. Because this, I mean, that's why I wasn't really overly fussed against Norwich, because I thought, well, yeah, I'll be there next week at Liverpool. But you could see, I mean, how the squad kind of pushed him forwards as well for him to get his acclaim. Then he was there tapping the badge and everything on his chest, and this was more than it was last week. This was the last one, and yeah, it was strangely emotional. Now, I can't think of a player that I've even. I mean, we didn't really get to say bye to Bully because he had to retire, but there ain't been many that you think, oh, okay, this is really sad now that you've got to leave, like it was in Neves. I mean, it was different. This one was worse than ever, and we all know why. But for his own sake, he has to get out of this place.
I was going to say, the nearest I could think of was maybe like when Joey and Lescott went, but that didn't have the same emotional impact. But again, it's like similar circumstances. Like, well, he has to leave Wolves because he's far too good for us. Do you think the reason lots of people are upset is just because it's going to be so hard to replace him, and also a lot of people don't have faith that we will be able to?
Yeah, I think that's a concern. Not so much that it will be so hard to replace him, because he's a fantastic player, but there are other good central midfielders that play football as well. You know what I mean? Any player is replaceable. No player is ever bigger than the club. And I even thought that when Bakary Sakho left, and I love Sakho. He was class. But the biggest concern is, do we trust to replace him? Because my trust in that side of the club at the moment is low. Because,
Luke,
I mean, as good as Neves is, if somebody's saying, look, here's £70 million for that man, that does soften the blow. As a fan, that really softens the blow. That's a lot of money for a club like Wolves. But then where's it going to go? Where's the Jarvo money?
It'll be
esports shares. That's my bet. That's what I'll be spending the money on.
It could be where Neves leaving is positive for the club, because then the money that we get for him is then positively invested in the team, because the team is bigger than Neves, as good as a player he is.
Well, I said something similar on a Liverpool show early this week when we were talking about Connor Cody, and sort of said, problem is he can't really play in a back four, so we have to play the back five with him in it. So him being in the team is sort of fundamentally holding us back, because we can't have an extra player in midfield. So if he went, and I'm probably a bit harsh just with my words, but it could almost be to a benefit of the team if we're able to place him with a decent centre half and we're able to get another midfielder. And like there is, plenty to say that no one's replaceable. And actually, even Ruben Neves, who has been a magnificent footballer, isn't so much of a linchpin in this team, where it's like we are going to fundamentally have to change how we play. I am just in denial, by the way, when I'm saying all this.
Oh yeah, majorly. Like it's a massive blow that he's gone. Like, it's gutting. It is proper gutting, but we don't know what the future holds. So why sit here being all depressed about it when it could end up being positive? Yeah, he's a fantastic player, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be negative.
But
but we've
lost great players before. It's not like we've not lost great players before.
No, that's not the problem, is it? The problem is I can easily see him going for 60, 70 million, which is probably fair. 2 years left on his deal, whatever.
Anything less than 50 million, and
there's no point.
Would burn out the club shop.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is, like you said, you can quite easily see Neves being sold and starting the season with Dendoncker and Martinho in midfield, and them coming out with some bollocks saying, "Oh well, it was hard in the window. We couldn't get who we wanted to." And it's like, well, if Villa can literally sign someone mere minutes after the end of the season finishes, there's someone who's actually quite decent as well, who'd probably do a job for us. There's no excuse anymore. All this bollocks, all the FFP nonsense that we were fed last year that didn't matter anyway. There's no excuses anymore. And we've had, I put a jokey tweet out earlier about Laurie Dalrymple, but since Laurie left, everything's gone to shit off the field. We've signed rubbish and nonsense on it. We're still playing the vast majority of the team who played the first game in the Premier League anyway. And you think more the case that Neves is one of the best players we've ever had, definitely in our lifetime. It's what he represents, that it's a massive missed opportunity for them as an investment company that didn't back up what they said they were going to do. And if we'd have put the money in 2 years ago to back up the team that we had then, which is it's a worse team now than it was then, regardless of points, we could have had something special. But no, we're not, because this team's 2 years older. Half of them are going to leave anyway, or be forced out or sold. And you're looking at, without Jose Sarr keeping us in games and saving us 9 goals, which is mad, we could be in proper serious trouble next season.
But also, how long have Falson owned us for now? 5 seasons or
6 years?
6 years.
Yeah.
So let's say they're working off 5-year plans. So they've gone from, was we 14th in the Championship when they took over?
Yeah.
And in 5 years, we've then gone to 17th in the Prem. No, sorry. Was it 15th in the Prem? Or wherever we finished last season. So then the next 5-year building block is from 15th in the Prem to then see where we go there. You know, it's just like when they first came in, it was always the project. So now, let's just hope that they're looking at it as the project again, but from a different starting point. And we're a lot more advanced at this stage than we was when the first took over. So when they gave us, when we was in the Championship and they gave us a wonder kid from Porto, you know, what's to say they're not going to give us something amazing again now from 10th in the Prem?
Well, that's the dream, eh? But they fundamentally changed.
And what's dreaming, Stu? It's for free, mate.
Not for much longer.
Will tell you
watch.
Stu thinks we're going to sit.
We're taxing our mind soon.
Right, I'm going to quietly shift the conversation on. So, end of the season, bitterly disappointed, but we've actually ended up finishing 10th because we'd spent the last, I think, 12 games or something ridiculous in 8th, and all of a sudden we'd end up slipping. Still top half of the table. Still
20 points off 4th in the end.
But I mean, it was a slip second half of the season. We have got a couple of end of season reviews, guys. We've got a player ratings one, season as a whole, and you know what we're thinking over the summer. But guys, initial reaction when it came to 6 o'clock yesterday and you saw that final league position, I wanted to be happy because I've been going on all bloody week thinking 38 game season, finished 10th, better than I thought at the start of the season. And then you go, a third of it has been bad. And I mean,
but last season, like 2/3 of it was bad, like really bad. Now we've got it down to 1/3.
Yeah.
Invincibles next season.
So I've been doing a bit of thinking on this, and like we are definitely we were joking about it before the show. We're definition mid-table. We're inconsistent. My worry now, and hopefully what you two can convince me otherwise, is that football's all about momentum, isn't it? So if we'd have had our points more evenly distributed throughout the season, then we'd have been in the same position, but I think we'd have all kind of coped. Whereas we kind of had a bit of a liffy start and then rode very high and then sank sort of like a ship. But it's going to be really hard for them not to carry that into next season because it's like that you only remember your last result, and our last few have not exactly been ones to remember.
The problem,
if the squad gets overall though, fresh mentality, then isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the only way it's going to happen, because in the worry for me is that this is the second time this has happened to Bruno Lage as a manager, and he ended up leaving Benfica when this happened to him, and he couldn't change things when it went bad. He just lost and lost and lost, and for a club like that to end with the run that they did was kind of unforgivable, really. And I still can't believe that they didn't take the Vitinha option. Vitinha last year, with Trincao this year, Trincao train. And there's loads of different mistakes that they've made over the years that seem like, for an investment company as well, which we have to remember that's what they are. Do you think, okay, Vitinha's gone on better, and he's won. He was in contention for Porto's Player of the Year, and you don't do that if you're shit, do you? So Trincao is obviously one of the most frustrating players you've ever seen in your life, but there's still something there, and I still think that it's something that will come out eventually, given a pre-season, like I'd always said. But there's issues like that, and there's issues all over the falling outs and all that kind of thing. I just don't see, other than massive change, where you're going to change that momentum from. I know it's be downbeating, me being the depressing one, but remember when I said for the before Newcastle, and we were doing our predictions then about how many points we'd get, and I said 5, and everyone took the piss out of me again. We ended up with 2. 2.
That's why we was taking the piss.
Yeah.
Can't believe how optimistic you was.
Yeah, exactly. It's there's been certain things that have been there that have been blatantly obvious to us, like how Sarr massively kept us in games, and we're all going, "Oh, the defense is amazing." Well, it's not. We've got one of the best keepers in the league, having a massive purple patch that's kept us in the top half of the table eventually. But these issues have been there all season. It's just kind of we've papered over it with individual performances and things like that. So I'd be fearful. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't be worried. I'd be fearful to what's going to happen if there's not massive change in numbers and personnel.
Well, that nicely brings on to Twitter Corner, because we've got one silly question, one straight line football question, and an interesting football question. So I'm going to do a straight line one because it links in exactly what you were saying, Stu. So from Adam Melia, how many of the players that started yesterday will start the first game next season? So out of the goodness of my heart, I'll bring up the lineup for you to see. So we had Sarr, Johnny, Bolly, Cody, Totti, Nori, then Duncan, Neves, Moutinho, Jimenez, Neto. So tell you what, if we just do it as a group, so if we knock through, so Jose Sarr, first choice, I think he stays next season. So that's one.
Well.
Oh, Stu, don't do this to me.
Stu, he's not going anywhere.
Stu, come on.
You wouldn't think so, but you just think we signed him for 6.8 million. If someone offers some at 35, 40 for a 29-year-old, soon to be 29-year-old, you got to think if we're buying goalkeepers from America, we've got Birmingham's Player of the Year in Sarkic as well. That wouldn't surprise. I mean, I would hate it, but I wouldn't rule that out. So maybe.
Okay. I can still see Johnny.
You could say maybe for everyone now, couldn't you? Johnny. All right then. What if Barcelona come in? He's gone. Willy Bolly. Yeah. Leon, I'm after a new defender. He wants to go back to France. He's gone. Cody. Yeah. He'll stay. Totti. Totti. He wants to go back to Portugal. Porto want him. He's gone. Nuri. Yeah. He's going to Leon with Bolly. Then Donker's going to play for Anderlecht. Neves.
Where's Leon got all this money
on.
from?
Matinho will stay. Jimenez is
Listen,
going to the
that was
MLS, maybe. And Neto, maybe Juventus want him. There we go. Sorted.
So if you do it properly, so yes. Johnny, yes. Toti, yes. Bolly and Cody, I'm not convinced that Cody will still be here, to be honest. I think that
Do you think he could leave?
I think he could. But
I
think
feel,
that
I feel like he's a lifer, I do. Who's going to buy him?
Newcastle. They're mad, are they? They've got money
there though because he loves it here, don't he? And
he does love it here, but it's depending if we want to move on. Ain't Nuri's obviously going to stay. Then the whole midfield you're looking at. I think obviously Neves is gone. Then Donker probably will be here, sadly. And Matinho. I mean, would you offer him a 2-year deal at this point? I know for his point of view, he'd want one. I mean, maybe he could kind of twist his arm with 1 year, with the option the second year being for us.
Yeah,
that's how I'd go about it.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, Raul, God knows, and then Neto. Yeah, so you're looking at half the team,
and then you look at the subs. Ruddy gone. Put it back up. Ruddy gone. Hervat, he's gone.
Boo.
Marcel gone. Pedence, he looks like he's gone. Trinko gone. Mascara, he'll probably stay. Silva, I'd send him on loan, but he might stay. Chiquino, he'll stay, and he'll be an important player for next season because he is a player. And Wang will stay, and we'll just continue hating him for another 12 months. Then he'll go on loan to somebody, and then in 4 years' time, he'll leave on a free.
I mean, let's be honest, Grasshopper's can get a hell of a player he's saying 6 months' time.
Well, if did they qualify for the Champions League? Because I'm sure there's up there, wasn't there?
There's a limit on loans next season, remember, as well. So we can only send 3, I think.
You can only have 3 going to the same club, yeah. And we had 4 last season going to versus Europe.
How's that? What's his name? Bolla, the right back who was on loan at Has he had a decent season?
Apparently so. I mean, in Spears' loan report, he said he's had an excellent season. So who knows?
So we could have a couple. We could also have a couple of hidden gems as well.
Yeah,
like
Maido as well.
We signed a Japanese international. Who's out at Zurich. There was the other South Korean player, the winger. Now you're going to test me on their names, aren't you? We signed them both in January and shipped them out immediately. But Hawabe, it's a Japanese international. Most likely we'll end up just turning a small profit on him, but you never know.
I mean, we still got Bonatini still contracted for a year. So. I'd rather have Bonatini than Wang. I'll tell you now.
What about the Ecuadorian?
He's in Miami. Do you think he's ever going to return from Miami to Wolverhampton?
Yeah, have you seen the weather today?
Yeah. I was going to say, he's been pissing it down in Costa del Chifnal today. Right. As I kind of alluded to earlier, the preseason tours got cancelled. So, what teams would you like to play in preseason friendlies outside of the US tour? 1 English. I'm going to allow you to stretch it to British if you want, / Great Britain and Ireland, and 1 continental team at home. So, Stu, I was thinking of this. So I've got 2 answers for the away trip in Great Britain. Whitby. We could play the Whitby Goths.
Yeah. No, Whitby have got a team. They've got a team.
Yeah, I know, but I'm thinking we play exclusively for Whitby Goths team.
Yeah, that'll work.
Whitby Goths?
Yeah, there used to be.
Please tell me it's a team of Goths.
I'm 99% sure it's still a thing. There used to be an annual game of the Whitby Goths versus the Whitby Gazette, which was just like the local journos.
Yeah.
It's a magnificent place.
There's an annual Goth festival in Whitby.
Yeah. Is that where you give every year?
Yeah. Sometimes I've been there that week, but sometimes there's also a steampunk week as well, where people go dressed like in Victorians with like guns and stuff on themselves. It's great.
I think if we're being realistic though, it's got to be Rangers, hasn't it? Rangers away in the sunshine.
That wasn't going to be mine. Mine was going to be Aberystwyth.
Grow up.
Innocent, grow up. No, I'm still living on to my youth, Luke. You know this. I've got the hair's going, so I've got to hang on to something.
But we're long overdue a shit tour, aren't we? You know, we've not played.
Like, I'm thinking of
Bohemians for a while.
proper like Welsh Prem. So go and do Aberystwyth, New Saint.
TNS.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah. Go Conwy Bay on the way back. Lovely old job. Imagine Raul Jimenez just slumming it in Flint.
We've come a long way when you think about it, haven't we? We have come a long way. I think at home,
we'd like to see it.
You want somebody big, don't you? Like a AC Milan or something.
That's not good rap, is he? That way, you got to think of the qualifiers and stuff as well, and things like that. So, and whether the season starting earlier.
I mean, you really don't, Stu. But
I'll listen when have we ever had a German team?
Oh no,
I can't think of.
It's usually Spanish we get, isn't it?
Yeah, someone like Bremen or someone like that. As you can imagine, I'm bringing about 5,000 over.
Yeah.
Well,
Frankfurt. Have you saw that?
I'm gonna go for San Pauli then and keep up my kind of punk vibes.
Who's that?
San Pauli.
But
they're playing brown.
Yeah, they play in brown.
Oh, that German team. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that German team. Yeah, we'll take that and we move. Okay. So the last one is from Todd in America. Now, Stu, I'm going to be looking for you on this one. But is there a weird food combination that you like that might gross out someone else?
I mean, why is it I get portrayed as this weirdo all the time?
Can I tell you what? Don't worry, I'll let you think. So the only one I could come up with, and I've not had it in years, but chocolate and Doritos.
And this is like Andy putting like chocolate Reese's things in popcorn. This is quite common.
Yeah, I realise it's not uncommon.
Would that be like salty popcorn or sweet popcorn? I'd imagine it work with sweet popcorn.
Yeah. Or if you half an hour.
A thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there's one that I used to do. I mean, my old hangover cue used to be a tomato and basil cup of soup and a cheese spread sandwich. That used to be a thing. I mean, dip it in.
The only thing I can think of, but it's completely not abnormal, is when I have a Sunday dinner, I cake it in applesauce. Like, I love applesauce. There's loads of people that don't like applesauce, and I just don't understand how you can not like applesauce.
No? What, on beef?
Hang on. I've got two questions.
Chicken. I'd have applesauce on any meat.
And you put it on like it would be gravy, or do you have like a dollop on the side?
No, like you get the applesauce. So you got your roast, okay? You got your roast.
Yeah.
Applesauce. Bang some in the Yorkshire puddings. Applesauce. Bang it on the meat. Applesauce. Bang it in the mash. Applesauce. Put it on your veg. Applesauce. What else do you have? Oh, all over your roast potatoes as well.
You're a disgrace, Luke.
I can't really have applesauce and mash. I don't.
You know what?
I don't get why people wouldn't like it.
You might as well. You might as well just pour Magners all over your dinner and be done with it.
Yeah.
Do you not eat applesauce?
You have it with pork, don't you? That's about it.
Yeah, it's traditionally you have it with pork. Yeah. I can understand you having with other meat. I can,
So, okay,
it's the idea of it being spread everywhere. I don't, because it comes in little jars. It doesn't come in big jars, does it?
It does sometimes. Well, after
it's where you fucking get it from. By the sounds of it.
Industrial kitchen.
If you had a pork dinner on a plate with mash, roast potatoes, gravy, and that, you're telling me you'd only put the applesauce on the pork?
You put it on the side like with like cranberry with turkey.
Yeah, I was going to say I would.
Why would you put it on the side? So if you have mint sauce on your Sunday dinner, you just put it on the side, or do you put it all over?
No, but that's mint sauce is different though.
Well, yeah, they're all different, like, but
because
it's all sauce.
Yeah, apple sauce, cranberry sauce, ketchup. These are solid sauces.
So you don't squirt sauce all over your chips and that?
Well, no.
Never can help
it.
You put curry sauce over your chips. But you put
No,
brown
you
sauce
just-
over your chips if
But
you're
now I
weird.
feel like you're just making up different rules for different sauces, and
I don't
all
make the
sauces
rules.
should be treated the same.
Justice for sauces.
Yeah,
This,
what?
you can't. No, it doesn't make any
That's
sense.
he making me hungry because he knows applesauce all over your Sunday dinner is banging.
It sounds sickly, really.
It's the
Nah.
amount of it that's stressing me out.
Yeah, I could like the jars that I'm about that big. I could have it half a jar easy.
I mean,
Yeah,
my-
I mean, that's rough.
my problem with applesauce, it looks like when you have when you have a nose infection and you you get really bad like snot in the back of your nose and you can feel it and then it comes out and that's what applesauce looks like to me.
Yeah, but it don't taste like that.
No, but
That's like saying, "Oh, melted chocolate looks like shit, so I ain't gonna eat it." But it's absolutely beautiful.
I wouldn't put chocolate all over my dinner either.
Of course you wouldn't, because that's chocolate.
It's exactly the same. This is like it. What about Nutella? Did you put Nutella all over your Sunday dinner?
No, because it's chocolate.
Yeah.
And chocolate
It's
and
the same
apple are different. That's
think
like saying, I don't fucking know. But it just makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah,
Will
apple pie is
Martin,
nice
you
as
might as
well.
well.
Apple
Yeah,
pie
but
is nice.
you're creating an open apple pie. That's what you're doing. You're pizzarising a Sunday dinner.
Yeah, but do you eat apple pies?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So then you'd probably like applesauce, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but not all over everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So mine's A the amount, and B, like I don't like having sauces that are gonna potentially mix with one another.
I'll tell you what then. Next time you have a Sunday dinner, just get a little bit of applesauce, put some on your mash, put some on your
Why can't I just have
roast.
its own little like designated area?
Well, if you want to put it on the side of the plate, you can, but then you've got to get it all on the fork and mix it in with the mash.
Yeah, this
Because
seems
you do that anyway, so why not just put it on the mash?
But you don't put it on the mash. You use applesauce on pork. You don't put like if you have steak and chips, you don't put mustard everywhere, do you? You put mustard in a little pot on the side.
What about peppercorn sauce?
On the steak only, but not on the chips.
Oh,
It's
nah,
making
see,
soggy.
nah, man, you can have it with the chips as well. And this is your problem, Stu. You discriminate against different sauces. So it's okay for peppercorn sauce to go on your steak, but it ain't okay for mustard to go on your steak.
We're not being saucist, either.
You definitely have.
We need to make like some sort of like checklist. So, what sauce? Is it on the side? Is it in a separate pot, or is it slabbed all over? Because like gravy for me can go over. Doesn't matter what it's like. Go over anything. You don't put it to the side.
All right, so let me answer. Riddle me
Ketchup
this.
side.
Riddle me this. You go to the chippy and
Yeah.
you have a kebab, and he says, "Sauce and salad, mate." And you're going to say, "Yeah, sauce, mint sauce all over it, and yogurt mint, but just on the side, please, mate." No, you're going to put it all over the kebab.
You've
Because
met
that's
me,
how
bro.
sauces should be used and treated.
Yeah, but why would you have yogurt mint and mint?
All right, then.
This is
If he says, all right, then you say
Talking
yogurt
ketchup.
mint all
Yeah.
over, chili on the side.
Well, no,
You wouldn't
because
do it, would you?
it's a different world. See, chip shop. It's
100%.
chip shop world is a different world altogether.
yeah.
Because it's you ain't got a choice unless you have one where they put the meat separately on the side and not on top of the chips.
If it's already if it's in a container where there isn't necessary space to put extra.
Yeah, it's like
All right,
mushy
again,
pizza.
Again, we're gonna need a checklist, guys. I think, and
So
I don't
if
think we've
you
got time for
ordered-
it today. But
If you ordered a Sunday dinner off Just Eat, which you can now, and it come in a container, now
No,
where we go, and then they say to you, "What sauce do you want on it, mate?"
no.
And you're going to say mint sauce in a cup.
yes,
Why?
because that's the rules. You wouldn't say, "Oh no, mate."
Yeah,
Yeah,
so then you're
pour-
going to dip your food in your mint sauce. No, you're going to tip it all over your food, are you? So
Yeah.
they may as well do it for you. That's why chip shop world are different. You just making it different.
My hands
I'm
are
not
here,
saying
I'm
the
not touching
evening's gone to hell, but Hygienist does just posted Stu's the best thing about Wolves.
Listen,
Fancast.
let's just finish it now.
I think we're going to have to, guys. So,
it. This is what Huang does to you.
honestly, this is what I'm going to have to spend the rest of my evening thinking of different sources now and how I approach them.
Yeah, put it
But
in a table.
you know what? If you do have any thoughts on it, guys, do feel free to put them in the YouTube comments. But while you do it, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the episode. Big thanks to everyone who's listened to today's show.
If you've got this far.
If you've got this far, big thanks to everyone who's listened to this live as well, because this is sorry, I'm halfway through the edge spiel. I'm sorry, but I've had a great comment from Matt Bradley on the YouTube saying, if you're ordering a Sunday roast in a box, you need to evaluate your life choices.
Right.
And frankly, that's as good a place to end the show as any. Make sure you check out Wolves Fancast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for your Wolves loves and trolls. We've got a couple of end of season podcasts, as I mentioned, as well, where we'll be reviewing the season and looking ahead to the summer as well. Big thanks to Pixel Yeti Media and 90 Min as always. And until next time, it's a saucy Luke Thompson.
See you later. Listen, if you've listened to the end right, just comment on Twitter, source, no other context. Then we know you've listened to the end, and we know that you're a sad old.
Just if you know one of the guys on Fancast, even if they're not one of us three, just text them source.
Yeah,
because that'll know they're listening, won't it?
Yeah.
It's goodbye from Stu.
Do not conform to applesauce. Ta-ra.
And it's goodbye from me. And lastly, up the under 23s on their promotion as well.